Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Rubbins Racin Next Gen Series every Tuesday night, sponsored by Butt Kicker and Next Level Racing. Welcome back, one and all, to the virtual Richmond Raceway. We're going to go 100 laps here in Virginia, the 3/4 mile racetrack, and guaranteed to be another good time. As always, my name is James East, accompanied by Finley Fitzsimmons on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing you the action, 1080p, 60 frames a second. Looking forward to another great night. Finley, as they're rolling out and qualifying, things seem to be going well. A healthy grid, about 22 drivers. And right now, it's Jared Reed in the Ford Mustang in the top spot. What do you think's going to happen out there tonight? We've seen a lot of action early on in practice. We've got about 30 seconds left to qualify, and Cameron Hone, Carter Lynn, Dominic DeLeo, Butch Taylor, Mac Nelson have all yet to go out on track here for qualifying. So I guess they're going to be starting from the back here. And Finley, we talked to the drivers before tonight's broadcast, hanging out in the virtual haulers. Most of the guys are kind of betting over on a over-under 3 caution wager tonight. What are you thinking is going to happen? I'm going to be interested to see. It's good to be back out here at Rubbins Racing. I haven't been able to call the last couple races, and good to see some new names and faces out here, but we're going to get them lined up and ready to go. Starting on pole, Jared Reed, number 5 machine. Greg Mitchell starting second. Michael Vandermeet starting third. Nick Leo, fourth on the grid. David Reed starting fifth. James SoundCloud Silver starting sixth. Nick Vasquez starting seventh. Aaron Sire starting eighth. Garrett Hall starting 9th. Stephen Gibson 10th on the grid. Robert Mathis starting 11th. Matt Kleeman starting 12th. As we roll it on back, we've got Tim Johnson starting 13th. Steve Escoffier starting 14th. Jake Vanoski starting 15th. Tyler the Weapon Evans 16th on the grid. Mark Cusano starting 17th. Carter Lynn starting 18th. Cameron McHone starting 19th. Mac Nelson starting 20th. Butch Taylor starting 21st. Dominic DeLeo starting 22nd. And that will round out the field here tonight as we get ready to send them out at Richmond. 100 laps here at the Rubbins Racin Next Gen Cup Series. Now, Finley, we've got a few new faces coming out for this series, and we've actually capped off the entry. So the guys here kind of valuing good, clean fields, maybe smaller fields over, a massive 40, 43 car grid. How do you think that plays out into the planning, the strategy for these guys, knowing it's generally shorter races and in theory should be a little bit cleaner races? One of my favorite things to see here every Tuesday night is the good, clean racing. And that's one of my favorite things as a driver and a broadcaster alike. I enjoy watching the guys show what they have behind the wheel as well as the strategy they have out on track. We can kind of tell you who can go out and set some blistering fast lap times, but as I know and the fans at home, it's not always who can put the fastest lap down, but maybe who can keep those lap times down the lowest over the duration of the run. And speaking of fans, if you're out there, let us know where you're from, who you're cheering on here tonight. We appreciate up in the broadcast booth. The drivers doubly so appreciate it. They'll either have this broadcast pulled up on a separate screen or TV at the house, and they just about always go back and watch it. So let us know who you're cheering for as we get them lined up 2 wide, about 10 rows deep for the start here at Richmond. And with these short races, the start's so important here. You can see drivers making some gutsy moves in the first 5 to 10 laps before the tire wear starts to become an issue. So going to be interesting in what is essentially a sprint race in these next-gen Cup cars. And I'm very curious to see what's going to happen after the races we've had in the very most recent past. But pace car is in, and let's get ready to go racing here at Richmond.
Green flag, green flag.
Now, I'm interested to see Robert Mathis starting 11th tonight in the 29 Ford Mustang. He was our race winner last week for race 2, so he's going to have a lot of work to do. But Jared Reed, who finished second, he's out front showing no signs of slowing down, but he's getting stalked by Greg Mitchell, Nick Leo, Mike Vandermeer, James Silvers, a few new faces up inside the top 5. And I think right now Jared Reed knows, hey, if I'm going to get that points lead, oh, let me interrupt myself there, Finley. We've already got a caution. I think Steve Escoffier, maybe Nick Vasquez, he's down 8 spots, maybe worth checking out. Oh no, it's the 23. Is that the 23 I see spinning around? Yeah, Nick Vasquez, I think, is the one who is all sorts out of shape. Yeah. Yeah, I just saw it out the camera. A little bit of 3 wide action there. I think that was the 13 of Garrett Hall on the inside line. May have getting him a little bit of a love tap. Steven Gibson got out of there nice and clean in the 53. And all things considered, that could have been much worse for Vasquez. Oh, is he just alive? Race I've seen those Cornerstone guys in, they tend to want to hug the inside apron. I'm not sure how much fuel saving you can properly do when you're only 4 laps into a 100-lap sprint, so not quite sure what the move is, but Jared Reed's going to enjoy getting a few more laps led under caution as we get ready and go live and send them back out. Yeah, get him lined up behind our iRacing safety car. It's Reed Mitchell is going to be on the front row. Leo Vandermeer, your second row. Silvers and David Reed will be your third row. Oh, let's get ready to send them back out. Jared Reed, Greg Mitchell lining up on the front. Reed got a good launch early on, and he's going to try and do it once more here. Yeah, very impressed by the big lunges we saw out of Nick Leo there in the 69 machine, gaining that ground. And that's what we were talking about. You've only got a few hot laps to make something happen. And right now, the guys seem to be doing it, but I think we've got a crash going on somewhere out on track. Steve Escoffier showing involved in an incident, but not seeing the caution come out here yet, Finley. Yeah, I think the rest of the field's got to be happy they're not seeing a caution, especially Jared Reed and Nick Leo, who are starting to extend that gap over the three-car battle for third. That's Greg Mitchell, James Silvers, Michael Vandermeed in the mix. As you watch Silvers and Mitchell side by side, Vandermeed's going to take his time here watching those two cars in front of him, not wanting to get interjected into that party. And again, even though I would say it's a relatively short race, we've still got a long way to go for these drivers if they want to make something happen here. Yeah, I think yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Silvers is slowing down or worried about tire management. That number 17 machine absolutely ripping around the track here in Richmond. And again, I don't think he's worried about the tire wear. He's trying to get that momentum as quickly as he can to try and catch up to Jared Reed and Nick Leo, as Silvers finds himself about 3/4 of a second back from the 69 machine. Now, Leo, such a dominant driver last season. So going to be interesting to me, maybe see how things pan out. And if he can start to catch up to Jared Reed, who's been absolutely on fire this season, to try and make something happen. There we go. It's Nick Leo in the 69 machine with Nick Leo Racing running his trademark jewel paint scheme on that Chevrolet. And Finley looks like a pretty Chevrolet dominant field here tonight. I see a spattering of Fords, just a few Toyotas, but Chevrolet from front to back here tonight. There's Jared Reed in the beautiful mullet. Now, Finley, not a lot of mullets over there in the UK. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Well, always good seeing Jared Reed out on track in any sort of capacity. Haircut notwithstanding, good guy, fast driver, and he's pulled about a 1 second gap over Nick Leo as we pan back to Michael Vandermeed, who's starting to very slowly reel into Mitchell. But what's this? Mark Cusano showing involved with an incident out on track. Again, though, I'm not seeing a caution as, oh, the 44, the Arizona T-backed Ford Mustang, and a very precarious look behind him, Finley. Big crash as Tim Johnson tied up in that one. Does he get loose and tag the wall? Oh, oh, yeah, right as we say that, in goes the number 11. I think that was Evans in the 77 machine. Yes, it was, and I think as well, yep, Carter Lynn's tied up in that one. And just like that, I mean, it just that's what it takes is a little single car incident. Next thing you know, oh, around goes the field. That was Butch Taylor tied up in that one. Drivers hopping on the radio, apologizing immediately, but just like that, things have gone very terrible very quickly. And and that's the good thing here. ROL, the Rubbin Racing Online Next Gen Cup Series, sponsored by Bite Kicker, Next Level Racing. So even though these guys are involved in incidents with this smaller field, it's more of a family environment. So guys immediately hop on the radio going, hey, I'm sorry, I messed up. And then everybody else saying, hey, you know what? No worries, mistakes happened. It wasn't over-aggressive driving that caused that incident. It wasn't, first lap heroes. It's guys out there doing their best from 1st to 20th, looking for personal best. And that's what makes the environment so fun out here. And again, I do have the privilege, not in the broadcast seat. I can listen on the driver radio. And I've got to say, some of the most relaxed driver communications I think I've ever heard after a crash. Yeah. Yeah, gotta agree. These guys are out here every Tuesday night. I mean, yes, they want to win. They want to get those personal bests, but it's about having fun, having some good, clean racing, representing you and the league sponsors the best that you can. And everybody wants to look cool in the broadcast, so nobody wants to be that guy. So good to see the Tuesday night series always put on a good show. And Finley, I mean, that's what the second caution. We've got a poll up over on YouTube. It says, hey, what's the wager over under 3 cautions? Right now, the fans thinking over 3. What are you thinking 20 laps in? Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but no fast repairs here either at the Rubbin Racing League, correct? Yeah, he is up 6 spots, I believe. 7 spots. Hard to tell as we try to get him stacked up, but we're going to get him double wide, very far back, as Reed and Leo take the green flag once more at Richmond. Jared Reed, the number 5 Ford Mustang, he's been absolutely on the starts here tonight. But now we're at the point of the race, 20 laps in. Who's going to maybe have the tire wear to pull something out towards the end? We haven't seen anybody opt to come down road for tires yet, at least in these first 2 springs of cautions. As we pan around the field, focusing on David Reed in the 52 machine. He's down 1 spot from where he started, and it's interesting to see some of these guys trying to make some big moves. There's Garrett Hall, Matt Kleeman going at it in the battle for 7th. There's Garrett on screen, the number 13 Mobile 1 backed Ford Mustang. He's next to Matt, kind of in the middle of some Mustangs here with Matt Kleeman, Robert Mathis Jr. And these guys, I'm very impressed with the racecraft we're seeing. Everybody going, ooh, almost 3 wide there. Oh, around goes the 29. So yeah, he gets the old punterino from Tyler the Weapon Evans in the Best Buy machine. And around goes the 29. How hard is he going to hit the wall here, locking up the brakes? And I guess that's better news that have that glancing side blow, but Robert Math is going to be in there with some heavy damage and the H&M Motorsports machine. And I did get a report, the fans who voted for over 3 cautions. You were correct, ladies and gentlemen, as we hit our 3rd caution of the night. And we're gonna eye pace a little bit. And it shows Silvers as the race leader in the 17 machine. Is that correct, or did he pass the pace car? I think he passed the pace car. So, Finley, we just got the report from the crew chief. The driver of the number 17 machine, SoundCloud Silvers, was in desperate need of a bathroom break. So he pulled past the pace car to try and give himself enough time to get up and go. And race control telling him, no, that is not an option. So the number 17 machine, keep an eye out on him, as he's going to be driving with a little bit more pressure than most people would be, as he has added reason to finish this thing up without any cautions. Now, I know you're English, but that gets me reminiscent of the Tony Stewart incident that happened 5-10 years ago, and he had to make an executive decision during his race on what was more important, winning or a clean driver's suit. So we're gonna have to, if Silvers gets into the podium room tonight, that is going to be an interview for the ages, I think. I agree. And that's the best thing about here every Tuesday night is realistically, it's anybody's guess who's going to bring this thing home. I mean, Jared Reed's been fast all night long. We're about a third of the way through the race, but last season, Nick Leo winning the championship, one of the dominant drivers of the season. So I'm very intrigued, and it's really good to see so many drivers really picking up the pace during the offseason as well. We've got what went from, a 3-4 car shootout on who can bring home a win. I think realistically, anybody inside the top 10 tonight has a good chance, especially as we have these really short staccato runs that's kind of breaking it up, giving drivers a chance to cool down. But what I do fear is that cautions breed cautions. Every time we get this field stacked back up, it leaves a little bit more room for excitement as drivers may be coming out on fresh rubber and trying to blitz through the field here. Yeah, that's the great thing about a Richmond, this 3/4 mile, fairly flat raceway. It leaves a lot of room for drivers to take different lines, try different braking marks, and maybe make some passes that you wouldn't necessarily see at a 1.5-miler or a very technical track such as Martinsville. And the best thing that's happening for Jared Reed right now, the more Nick Leo, James Silver's battle for that second place spot, you can see the breakaway that Reed and the number 5 machine has. They're just about 8/10 ahead of the rest of the field and looking good here, charging forward. Now, Reed has not come down pit road tonight, but with the amount of cautions we've had, 3 early cautions before the halfway mark, I wonder if he's gonna have to pit. Yeah, let's do some full speed replays now. I want to see these guys crash at full speed. So let's see, we're watching Hall in the 13 machine. The 7 dives in deep. Oh, and just missed his brake mark entirely. That was, I'm trying to think who was the 7? That was Vinoski and the number 7 Chevrolet. I think just too hard on the brakes, missed the mark, and what that does for our viewers at home, the car just starts to push up the track. So watch the front left of the number 7 machine. Full wheel lock, everything he's got. But just when you're on the brakes, the car won't turn in, and poor Garrett Hall, an innocent victim, just gets absolutely drilled in the outside wall there. That's going to be close. Looks like he is. Man, it doesn't get much closer than that. So, Finley, this is interesting. The top 4 staying out on the original tires. Jared Reed, Nick Leo, David Reed, and Steven Gibson opting to stay out here as the rest of the field came in around lap 28 or 34, taking 4 fresh Goodyears and getting back out on track. So what do you think? Is this one of those tracks? Do they have enough laps on these tires where it's going to affect them that much in the short run? Or are you thinking they're going to be good to go until we get another inevitable caution? Yeah, track vision is going to be really tough to gain here, I think. Doesn't matter how fast you are in the case of Jared Reed. If you take that pit stop and next thing you know, find yourself restarting, top 10, maybe top 15 as drivers have been sent back to the virtual hauler. Even if you have the pace, the talent, that's going to be a tough ask to do with a lot of traffic in front of you.
Green flag, green flag.
That's Robert Mathis, Steven Gibson battling back and forth for the 4th place spot. Both drivers trying to make some early ground, and the position's so important out on track, especially if you're running in an odd position. That will allow you to be on the inside line for the restart, as it looks like Steven's starting to gain some ground on Robert there, as I hear crashing somewhere. Oh, the parking lot. So Nelson running that middle groove there. There's the 19, the inside line, Matt Kleeman. Was that net code there, Finley? There's nowhere to go there. So I I think Evans avoided impact both front and behind. If he did, it was very, very slight. But yeah, just net code between Kleeman and Nelson, and that's going to put two good drivers out of it early on, or at least with more damage. As man, Kleeman got spun around there. It looked like it was initial net code. Now I don't know if that was ever going to happen, regardless with how those two cars were starting to converge. But I can say with confidence, what a great shot on board with Tyler Evans. Watching the incident unfold, does he stop it in time? Yes, he does. Well done. Yeah, and that's the bad part about the guys that are trying to save fuel a little bit, making the track as small as possible. Kind of throws off us in the booth as we check on some of the drivers in pit road. Matt Kleeman, Mac Nelson, Butch Taylor, all down pit road. And let's see, it's still going to be Jared Reed out front. Nick Leo accompanying him on the front row. And boy, what a rough night for a lot of drivers. We're showing about 14 guys still in the lead lap, but I think that number is going to keep dwindling here, Finley, as it's been a rough one for a whole lot of the guys. I do. I'm still optimistic here that the guys are going to get things dialed in, especially as we start dropping drivers and things get a little bit less hectic out on track. I think it's going to clean up. Now, I'll probably be wrong now that I willed that into existence, but I still have confidence in the guys. Yeah, keep an eye on those three drivers. We've seen them work together in other races across the sim universe, so definitely something to keep an eye out on. And I'm looking at Cameron McHone as well in the 04 machine, up 12 spots, running 8th out here. He's having a good night in what's very quickly become a race of attrition. As the pace car comes in, we get ready to send him out, and away we go. Green flag racing. Jared Reed has the starts absolutely dialed in. Nick Leo never really given him too much opportunity to stretch his legs, as David Reed, Steven Gibson, and Michael Vandermeer round out the top 5. We're focused on Gibson. Steven Gibson in the 53 machine. He's up 6 spots, and he is right on the Miller Lite-backed 52 Chevrolet of David Reed. Not to the halfway mark, and still tons of racing left for these guys to go to decide the top 3. Yeah, he's trying everything he's got, but also trying to keep tire management maybe in the back of his head here. So even though we haven't had any green flag runs, there's still always the potential for that to happen. You don't want to be out there. Oh, that's going to get interrupted. That was Aaron Sire, and then another crash behind. That's Mark Cusano spinning the wrong way. Vasquez. Yeah, watch Cusano in the 44. There was a crash happening ahead of him. He just pushed very slightly wide, slowed down, and gets tagged from behind. I'm not quite sure who tagged him because these paint schemes are so battle-worn. I'm looking on the inside right there to try and decipher who that was, but the right side, whoever that is behind the 44. 7? Yeah, Vinoski, I think you're spot on that one, tied up in that one. That was an odd crash. Almost looked like the 44 of Cusano checked up, because I want to say it was Aaron Sire. We saw the 42 machine getting a little bit squirrely ahead, and I think what happened, and I could be very much wrong here, I think he checked up slightly, and that's what had Vinoski tag the 44 machine, I think is what happened. So again, to reiterate, I think Cusano checked up, seeing a potential crash unfold, and Vinoski didn't know it was about to happen, and next thing you know, it's carnage at Richmond. Yeah, very impressed with the guys, though, especially up front, the top 5. We've seen some hard racing, some clean racing. It seems to me like most of the, I don't even want to call them problems, issues maybe we're having tonight is either track awareness or just single driver mistakes that get compounded. Even that last crash, I can't really fault. I mean, Cusano got loose, and then Vinoski tagged the driver that slowed down a little bit, so it's not like the guys are pushing too hard or being over-aggressive. It's just we're seeing mistakes that get compounded when you're out on a 3/4 of a mile track, and not a lot of room for any wreck avoidance out here tonight. Yeah, a few drivers back to the virtual hauler. I believe Steven Escoffier, Dominic DeLeo, Garrett Hall have retired from the race. And you've also got Jake Vinoski, Matt Kleeman, and I think Mac Nelson has just retired as well here, calling it a night. So I have 15 drivers still out on track, I believe. No, make it 16. Butch Taylor has returned to the raceway, but he's going to be about 15 laps down. But hey, seat time is seat time on a Tuesday night. We're here to sim race with some friends, so that's what these guys are going to keep doing out there.
Green flag, green flag.
Here we go. Jared Reed still on it with the launches, but Nick Leo has had a lot of opportunity to kind of watch what the number 5 Ford was doing up front. So I think as these restarts keep clicking off, say that 5 times fast, I think that Nick Leo's going to get the timing down out of Reed, and we may see something happen. Right now, we're focused on Steven Gibson in the 53 machine, and he is in a meat grinder right now, right behind Greg Mitchell, while James Silver's trying to make a move on him for that 7th place spot. Gibson way down low, and the running order constantly changing here. But one thing stays true, Jared Reed, Nick Leo with a bit of a breakaway. Er Mead taking over the 3rd place spot in the 86 machine. He's got a ½ second on David Reed. And right behind David is where the party is. There's Silvers, Mathis, Mitchell, Gibson, all in the fray. And really going at it here inside the top 5. Yeah, the top 5 all but decided. That's David Reed, Silvers, side by side. Looks like Silvers edging out just by a few hundredths of a second. Oh, and we're 3 wide behind him. Mitchell, Reed, Mathis putting on a show here. Surely this will not last long if they keep driving like this. You said the words. So yeah, Evan's gonna get that number 77 Best Buy back Chevrolet back up to speed, but he's dropped all the way down to 14th. And as we pan back to Greg Mitchell in the number 2 machine, I think that incident served as a warning to the other drivers saying, all right, we're pushing hard here. We still got 40 or so laps left to go, and we're not going to make it till the end if we wad everything up early on tonight. So I think that incident's going to help stretch things out and maybe put a tamper on the aggressiveness we're seeing out of the guys here. Yeah, I think you're right there, Finley. Even as the race leaders, they're about 4/10 off their fastest laps of the race, so I don't think Reed and Leo are going to slow down too much, but everybody else trying to make up those positions and maybe plan on that elusive green flag run we've been talking about tonight. Now, I'm sure now that I've said that, it will be willed out of existence as we're looking at Tim Johnson trying to make a move on Steven Gibson in the battle for the top 10. Gibson started 10th, Johnson started 13th, so he's gained a couple spots so far, and that top 10 can be a big thing to chase for some of these drivers. Again, a lot of the guys looking for their personal best out here is, oh, Steven Gibson with some massive blinks going on. That will not bode well for Tim Johnson, as he's got to be petrified to get close to that Chevrolet in front of him. Yeah, we're still watching Gibson. He's about, well, it's got about 2 seconds back from Aaron Sire in the 42 machine. Johnson about 4/10 off his back bumper, and seeing more blinking than I've expected. I think Cameron McHone also having blinking issues in the 04 machine as somebody's wildly loose up front. Who was, I'm trying to think, was that maybe David Reed we just saw getting all sorts of out of shape in the 52? I think it was. For our viewers at home that are watching it tonight thinking, hey, they're just going fast, they're turning left, but it's a small track. That makes it easier. Drivers still hitting speeds of around 143 miles an hour here tonight, and these next-gen Cup cars have a tendency to almost get snapped loose. The best way I can describe it for everybody listening along or watching along at home, I should say, it's almost as if the car binds up like it's in a spring, and then every now and then you'll lose a little bit of weight on one tire, and suddenly it just rapidly unloads the energy, and it kind of snaps loose on these guys. As we saw David Reed chasing his car, I believe it was out of turn 2, he had that big moment, but able to hold on to it. But these cars, very unforgiving when you start to have a mistake. As we go back up front, we've got a battle for second. Michael Vandermeer on the right side of your screen, the 86. Nick Leo in the 69 Jewel Machine, side by side. Silvers, teammates with Vandermeer, watching this battle unfold and maybe seeing if he can get up there. But it looks like Vandermeer not going to need the help and may be able to get clear of Leo here. Yes. Yeah, Silver's right there with the 69 machine. Now, talking about Vandermeer trying to battle for the lead, he's got his work cut out for him. Last time by, Jared Reed clipped off a 23.25, and I believe Vandermeer, yes, a 23.24. So Vandermeer only 100th of a second faster than your race leader, but finds himself, 2.4 seconds back. So that's a big ask to see Vandermeer close that gap in the remaining laps here, but anything can happen here at the Rubbins Racin Next Gen Cup Series as we have a 3-car battle for second. We're watching Michael Vandermeer, Nick Leo, James Silvers, all running within about 6/10 of each other as Nick Leo had a big moment. I think he had to woe it up to avoid tagging the wall, and the 69 machine now finds himself 4th on track. Yeah, will we see these 2nd and 3rd place drivers have anything to close the gap to Jared Reed? Reed's been dominant all night long. And we've got another 3-car battle going on as well. We're looking at Robert Mathis in the number 29. He's starting to catch up to Nick Vasquez in the 23, but you've also got Iron Sire in the mix as well in the 42 machine. Everybody trying to make some spots when they can find them here. And again, just great racing all across the track as this pack's starting to tighten up and getting a little bit more gnarly as Aaron Sire looks at the inside line of Mathis, not quite able to make it happen. And the tire is very worn at this point, so extremely tough to make moves. But here comes Sire on the inside line, and it looks like he may get clear of Mathis. Yes, he will get the pass complete. Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how this one pans out. Still, I don't know if we're gonna see any big moves. We got 23 laps left to go. Silver stepping out the back end in front of Nick Leo. This could be the possible battle unfolding for the final podium position. Silver's Leo right there with each other. As you take in onboard on the back bumper of SoundCloud, Silver's his number 17 machine. He's up 3 spots from where he started, and that's Nick Leo in the 69 right behind, who's been extremely fast. And almost heard, I'm not sure if that was throttle on a Silver's, almost like the car was sputtering a little bit there. Yeah, drivers over a second off. Sorry, Finley. Drivers over a second off their fastest laps of the race. Jared Reed, oh, I'm going to interrupt myself. There's a caution somewhere out on track. I want to say Robert Mathis and the 29 machine may have been tied up in that one. Oh, oh, yep, can't park there. Robert Mathis gets loose on his own, and he was trying so quickly to get it pointed back the right direction not to bring out a caution. I think that's what kind of bit him there as he tags the inside wall, and that will bring out the world-famous yellow flag once more as poor Robert Mathis is going to be down a spot now 12th. But again, as far as crashes go, could have been much worse for him, I think. Come from Greg Mitchell on a two-tire stop there in the number 2 Chevrolet. He's trying something a little bit different. He's willing to really risk it here. I think it's going to be about 16, maybe 15 laps left to go once we go green once more. This will be interesting because Jared Reed, for I think the first time here tonight, won't be starting in the very top spot. You say it, and I'll translate it into American for you. Left tire's fresh. So yes, what Finley's trying to say is he wants some good rubber underneath them. That way that front left can kind of grab and hook. But yeah, I don't know how this is going to pan out with only taking 2 tires. I would imagine Mitchell probably took rights there. I would think. I want to say this is a track that really leans on the back right. As you're trying to roll on the throttle, I would imagine that's going to be the biggest tire. But as we've seen guys absolutely cooking the tires into turns 1, really hard on the brakes. And speaking of brakes, I think is that what we're seeing? Is Jared Reed dragging the brakes in the 5? Look at that front right rotor. Yeah. Yeah, that's where things get... Exactly. So yeah, he gambled on the pit road to gain some spots. And so now he's got to gamble heavily, pretty much with everything he's got with 15 laps left to go. No more time for mistakes or second chances. He's got to nail this launch and try and keep Jared Reed behind him. Or I think that number 2 machine's going to be in trouble very quickly. Pace car is in. It's Mitchell who will be starting, but look at Reed, has a pretty good start. And, oh, this is about to get hectic because it looks like Nick Leo looking for a spot early on as well. With Greg Mitchell out front with those older tires, things are about to get very heated here. As here comes Er Mead, here comes Leo looking for some late race moves side by side in the battle for third. Nick Vasquez watching along the number 23 machine while Greg Mitchell still charging along out front. But here comes Jared Reed looking to the inside line of Mitchell. Will he be able to get clear of the two? As Mitchell gets a little bit loose there down the start-finish line straight, excuse me, the backstretch. And again, he's fighting for everything he has as we are 2 wide and 2 rows deep here at Richmond. Ooh. Yeah, we were very briefly 3 wide there in the battle for third. Van Der Mead absolutely licked the stamp and sent it up the inside line, trying to get through Mitchell and Leo, but had to back out of it, knowing it wasn't going to happen. As Steven Gibson, I think we both heard that at the same time. I think he just drastically tagged the wall in the 53 machine as he battles back and forth with Evans in the battle for 10th. Steven Gibson. We're watching Steven Gibson, the 53 machine, and Evans really going at it. Jared Reed, your race leader, puts down the fastest lap of the race after his lap 82 pit stop, a 22.33. He's gained about 6/10 over Nick Leo. Leo with about a second over Van Der Mead. So the top 5 starting to stretch out as we got the live timing and scoring tower on the left side of your screen. And I think I think Jared Reed's looking very good here with 8 laps left to go, opting to take 4 tires. I think he made the right call, knowing he had the short run pace, the long run pace as well. Will we see Nick Leo in the 69 machine close that gap at all and maybe see a final shootout here at the end? Yeah, I think Jared Reed, I think the best thing he's got going for him right now is he's got clean track ahead of that number 5 machine. So he's just got to work on hitting his marks, not making any mistakes. He's got 6 laps left to go. And I think right now Jared Reed really hoping we don't have a caution here.
Yeah, he'll be absolutely hoping there won't be a caution, because that's the least thing he'd want. He's got the gap now. He's holding around about 6/10. As long as it stays green for the remainder of the race. As we say that, it looks like we have a little bit of an insta behind. Van Der Mead, Butch Taylor, Carter Lynn's involved in that one. Looks like we're still going green flag running. People just seem tumbling down the order on that timing tower on the left hand side. I think we might have the time to have a replay of this, as Matt Clayman also has a little bit of an incident.
I think there's something going on with the software. I think the track's throwing something wrong in the live timing loop. Is why we're seeing those numbers bounce around. Uh-oh.
That doesn't look good.
All right, let's try and go back live then.
Doesn't seem like it wants to go back live.
All right, we got something going on here. Trying to focus on Jared Reed as something stuttering pretty terrifically here. Let's see what I can figure out as well. Hey, what, Finley?
Mm-hmm.
Let's have you close the stream.
Close.
See what we can do here.
SDK is literally like I'm clicking
Still on
live.
comms. All right, let's see what I can do. All right, I think we're good to go here. Let's go back live if I can. And Jared Reed brings home the win here at Richmond. Nick Leo rounding out second, and Michael Van Der Mead bringing home a third place finish. after a wild race start to end. Jared Reed, though, was one of the dominant cars out here tonight, Finley, and looks like he had what it takes to make it happen.
He had the pace, he had the time, he was holding that gap to Nick Leo, and he's brung home the win. Absolutely brilliant pace shown throughout of this race. Stretching the gap after every restart, he definitely deserves that one. Nick Leo coming home in that second spot. Michael van der Mead for his first ever podium in the series, for his second ever race as well for Cornerstone Motorsports in the 86 machine. There's a brilliant finish from him as well. Just falling out, Nick Vasquez and Aaron Sayer is your top 5.
Yeah, Reed definitely deserved that one in the Ford Mustang. Ran clean all the way start to finish. Brought home a relatively clean race car at the end of this thing and not having any issues. So well done. He had the short run pace. He had what I guess would be for tonight considered a long run pace, and he is absolutely enjoying the limelight out here. So we're going to try and get these top 3 drivers up here into the waiting room. But it was a great run all the way through. We see Van der Mead making his way up, still waiting on Leo and Reed. But Finley, it was a good race. It was a long race. Were you expecting things to go this smoothly, roughly? How would you describe this?
We definitely had a lot of cautions, but I think I wouldn't say rough. It wasn't very dirty racing, so to say. It was just maybe a consequence kind of the track, if you like, you know. I think it was more of a case of that's just how the track races, just like Darlington, just like Martinsville. You expect cautions, and I think Richmond goes into the same category. Considering that we've had some brilliant racing, I would definitely enjoy this one for sure.
All right, looks like we've got some of the drivers making their way up, so we're going to bring up Michael van der Mead first in the number 86 machine. Mike, welcome up here to the top 3. Great run, and glad to have you up here after a wild night here this evening.
Oh yeah, that was a hard race. Those cars they're tricky here. I'll say that. It's not easy.
Now, Mike, we were kind of talking about that. It looked like it was a rough go for several drivers just with the car control. What was it feeling like behind the wheel for you that we were seeing things get so, I guess, out of shape is a good way to put it?
You really couldn't tell if you were going to get into the turn too hot until you were essentially in the turn. And these cars have a really funny habit of getting straightened out, and then they want to snap around on you.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. These next-gen cars so much different to the Gen 6 Cup cars we've had before. However, though, we have to say it's your best ever finish in the series for your second ever race, bringing home the first podium for Cornerstone Motorsports. How does that feel?
It was pretty nice. I think I finished 3rd last week, did I not? At Auto Club?
I wasn't
I think.
here, Mike,
I don't know.
so I'm going to trust you on that one.
Yeah, my memory is a little fuzzy after this race. It might have happened. It might not have.
Well, Mike, great night out there, running very clean, having a relatively smooth race all the way to the end. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped you get up here in victory lane?
I just thank the team, sponsors, whenever we get things going. I think Function Junction's hopping on with us, so it'd be nice to see them on the car.
Well, awesome. Mike, good job, my friend. Good to have you up here, and hope to see you with that continued success next week.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was Michael van der Mead bringing home the 3rd. Up next, we've got Nick Leo with a hard-fought 2nd. Nick, up 2 spots from where you started. You've been historically one of the dominant drivers here at the Rubbins Racin Next Gen Cup Series, and good to have you back up here in the 2nd place spot.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to talk to you again.
So, Nick, how are you feeling compared to seasons past? Are you happy with how the car is developing? Or are you missing the old setups? What's your thoughts behind the 69?
I think it's like the same as last season. It feels pretty good, though. I mean, it's definitely fun to drive.
Yeah, 100%. As I said to the previous drivers in the booth, it's definitely so much different to the Gen 6 Cup cars. I just want to get your perspective on it as well. Throughout the stint, how do you think the car handling kind of evolved, and how different is it to the previous cars you've driven before?
It's a lot looser. You really got to drive it with the throttle, but that race there, I didn't take tires until lap like 80 or so, and it almost felt a little bit easier to drive on the old tires because you weren't scared of spinning it out.
Well, Nick, it's always a great time talking to you. You've been one of the dominant drivers every time I've seen you out on track, and another great run here tonight. Who do you want to give a shout out to, friends, family, sponsors that helped you get up here?
Yeah, a shout out to Butt Kicker and Next Level Racing, and you guys, of course, for doing the broadcast, and Jewel for just doing what they do, and had a lot of cautions tonight, so I was able to hit that quite a bit. So thanks to them.
Well, awesome job, Nick. Always a good time talking to my friend, and hope to have you back up here in the very near future.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So that was Nick Leo finishing the second place spot. But up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Jared Reed, join us in the top spot, continuing a dominant run this season. And good to talk to you again, my friend.
Yeah, James, good to have you up here.
Good to have you up here. I just sat around all night. You were the one wheeling and dealing, and looked like it was a very exciting night, starting at the front top spot, except for one restart. How are you feeling in that final restart, knowing that you're going to have to battle with some guys on slightly older tires, or maybe who were only on 2 fresh tires?
Yeah, I was hoping the 4 tires was going to get me around the 2 car there, but I was a little bit nervous, actually, because those fresh tires were just kind of slimy and didn't feel as good as the 80 lap tires I was on before we pitted.
Now, Jared Reed, you showed absolutely brilliant pace throughout. After every single restart, you were stretching that gap straight away. What was that secret key for your driving that just helped you edge all the drivers out, or do you think it was just, well, I don't know. Why do you think you,
I'm not entirely sure. Seemed like in practice some people had better short run speed, but once the tires got worn, I was able to just kind of back up the corner, and once the tires were worn, it didn't feel like it was gonna lose the rear end, and I could just kind of hammer down and take off. I don't know how other people were feeling.
So, Jared, compared to seasons past, it looks like you're finding a little bit more pace out of the number 5 machine, finishing up front a little bit more often, and we're having a pretty solid points lead coming into tonight that's only going to extend. Have you been putting in work in the off season, the real car? What's helping you get so quick, and maybe even more important, more consistent we're seeing this season?
Yeah, I've just been trying to run more of the practice sessions and get some time in there and figure out how to keep speed in the car, not just be fast for qualifying, keep the long run speed.
Well said, as always. It's been a great time watching you race out there tonight. A lot of excitement out on track, and good to have you back in the top spot once more. And you've got the final privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs, my friend. Who do you want to give a shout to, friends, family, sponsors that helped you get up here?
Yeah, as always, just want to thank everybody that joins us and makes this league fun to race in each week. The start of this race was a little bit rough, but there towards the end, we gathered it up and had a good race. Can't thank Butt Kicker and Next Level Racing enough for providing some prizes this year, making it fun for everybody that's running the whole season, and you guys up in the booth.
Well, our pleasure, Jared. A good time talking to you, and good to have you back up here. Hope to see you back in the top spot next week as well.
All right, thanks, James and Finley.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, Finley, that's going to cap it off here at the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Cup Series. A lot of action, a fair amount of cautions, and it's Jared Reed on the top spot. What did you think of tonight's main event?
we expected a lot of wheel-to-wheel battling, a lot of door-to-door. Yeah, a lot of action in this race. A lot of instances as well as we expected. However, it's full with action, as always, in the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Cup Series. And it's definitely fun to commentate, fun to watch. And as always, I enjoy to be here, and I sure you do, James.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Great racing, great friends, and a pretty all-right broadcast, if I say so myself, where it was Jared Reed, Nick Leo, Mike Vandermeer rounding out the top three. As always, on behalf of the Rubbins Racing Next Gen Cup Series, sponsored by Butt Kicker, as well as Next Level Racing, my name's James East, accompanied by the world-famous Finley Fitzsimmons with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. Thank you all so much for tuning in, spending your Tuesday afternoon with us, and we look forward to having you back same time, same place next week. Have a great night, everybody.